Yeah. Right. I think I've actually done this properly this time, which would be amazing. Got all the screen ready, all sorted. It says I'm live. Let's just sit here for a few seconds, see if there's anyone to join me. Apparently not yet. Let's see what we got. Anyone? Nothing. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I've got a reaction. I've got 3 views. Who would that be? I'm going to write a comment, see what happens. Hello, all those who be viewing this here live launch. Right, we've got Warren Whitley from NC. Well, that's something, isn't it? We've got 1 person. 4 reactions. Hey up. Nelly, Louise. Loads of people. It's going to be a short one, just so we know. We've got from Bristol, we've got Richard, we've got Lisa, we've got Paul. This is always makes me, it's just like 10 people are watching this. My massive face. Now, Caro Liza is here as well. Mary Little is here. Liz is here from Darlington. Ah, nice. Now, I'm not in the usual place. I'm not at home because we've come away on holiday. Ooh, to the worst weather ever, it seems. We're down in Cornwall, trying to sort of squeeze things in between the rain and more rain. There seems to be quite a lot of it. Hope it stopped raining. No, today's been okay. Tomorrow, not so much, apparently. But we're making the best of it. But like I said, I'm on holiday, so this is going to be quick, but had to do a live launch. Couldn't not really. Be rude not to, wouldn't it? So, the usual supplies, but slightly different, as we all have seen. We've got the cider. This one, I had to get this because it's called Daver. There we go. I got the medium, original, and the farmhouse. I'm going to have the farmhouse, because I'll be the only person who'll drink it. And then we've got this stuff here. The stinkiest cheese. I mean, it really hums. It's just horrific. And this thing, there you go, lardy cake, which I remember from when I was young, a long time ago now. It was, who was it? It was, what do we call it? Auntie Olive. And she wasn't my auntie. She was someone, I think she was my mum and dad's landlady when they were first married. And she stayed in touch and she would come and visit them a lot. She would always bring things. She'd bring this tiny little bag, and in it would be a joint of meat for the weekend and lardy cake, or lardy bread, depending on how you want to call it. And she would bring us this, and we have the recipe. And I make this myself. I haven't made it for a very long time. So yeah, we've got some lardy bread as well, lardy cake, however you want to call it. And this stuff, as I said, which is Celtic Herald. Dread to think what it's trying to herald when it smells like death. Not the best. Right. Here we got now. Have a quick look. How many people we got? 37 people. Ridiculous. Who are you all? Let's scroll back a bit. No rain in London. That's all right for you, isn't it? We've got Devon. We've got Carol Everson. Did you all enjoy the missing chapter? Did you like that? The chainsaw versus motorbike. Bit of a laugh to write that one. Stinky cheese is good, but this is a fighter, as we say. Spooky John from Yorkshire. Why are you spooky? Why? Who else we got? Carol, Andy, John, Elaine, Vivian, Penny, Pauline. You can speak to each other on these comments, by the way. You can say hello. You all kind of know each other. Ish. Right. I had Lisa. Lisa had lardy cake at lunchtime. Of course you did. Because why wouldn't you? Right. Before I read anything, time for this. Which is some Cornish farmhouse soda, a blend of hand-picked apples from North Cornwall. Nice and simple. Apparently I'm supposed to enjoy this sensibly, so no silly hats. Glass cider. I know, it's so exciting, isn't it? Here we go. Crikey. Never described a drink as gloopy before, but there we go. Sharp. Alright then. If you've ever had stinking bishop, this smells like that. So, stinking bishop. Well, that's a cheese I've had. Good grief. Yeah, this is scrumpy basically. So I like that. That's really good. This, more like a food challenge, I think. Anyway. So, it's going to be the usual fare. I'll read an extract in a second. Then we'll do a bit of a Q&A. And then I'll say goodbye. Nice and simple. Someone... Oh, Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Hooray, Jackie's there. Eating Cockett's meringue, which is the best of meringues. It's about this big. And you can fill it with all the cream and ice cream in the world, basically. And then push it into your face. It's amazing. If you go to Cockett's, get some. Not just the cake. And all that amazing meat. And Cockett's Rockets, which are brilliant sausages. Julie Carrick. Where are you from, Julie? Because it's 1 a.m. there. Someone... We've got Pamela from south of France. Jeepers. All over the place. Got 50 people now. More and more each time. Mad. Got beautiful in Scarborough. Is it? Now, Scarborough. This is Linda Neild in Scarborough. Does it still have the... Yeah, there's always the track experiences in Whitby. Scarborough has the Tower Terror, I think. Blackford is tipping down. Western Australia. Hey! It's bonkers, isn't it? Everyone... I mean, the Harry Grimm community is worldwide. And we should all get onto Wensleydale at the same time and have a big old festival. Who else have we got? Right. Oh, I write and read spooky stories. Oh, do you? Oh, do you? Well, that's interesting, John. Good. Right. Looking forward to Grimfest. Yeah, I'm assuming some of you are turning up to that event, which is going to be a right old laugh. Okay. Are you ready for an extract? Now, don't worry. It's not going to give anything away. You've read the extra chapter, which was the little chainsaw versus motorbike thing, which was a bit of a laugh, I thought. Matt doing his thing, dealing with some weirdness just over the top, Buttertubs past and round and heading up towards Kirby Stephen. That was a laugh. Now, in this book, obviously we've got lots of little storylines going on, because the more the stories develop, I've got lots of characters that have to do different things. I can't all have them doing one thing, which is a lot of fun writing, as you can imagine. Now this is where we first encounter Harry in the story. And as I've said, there's no plot giveaway here. It's just a little bit of an extract about what Harry's doing at the time before he gets taken away to do the investigation into Dead Man's Hands. Don't know why I did that. It's not like I'm underwater. Or maybe I am. Maybe I am. Right. I'm going to read now. Just a minute. Well, who have we got? Oh, just a minute. We're at 55 viewers now. 56. Snowdonia we've got. South Carolina. Cumbria. Harrogate. Sunderland. Move to Cornwall. Better Wi-Fi. It is quite good here, isn't it? Right. Oh, and Arizona as well. Andy Cassis from Arizona. Madness. Right. This is actually from chapter 4. So by this point, all hell has broken loose. But I'm not going to tell you what that is yet, because you have to find out tomorrow when the book lands, which is brilliant. As I said, sit comfortably and I'll start to read. But I'll leave more of the stinky cheese till later. Okay, chapter 4. For someone who has shot more than his fair share of guns in his time, you're not exactly a natural, are you, lad? Harry was standing in a field out the back of West Burton. Around him, the rising slopes of the fells were hidden beneath a shimmering sea of trees, and from deep beneath the sleepy boughs a cuckoo called. He was standing next to Arthur, Grace's dad, and still not retired gamekeeper, much to Grace's chagrin. Her lead secured to a metal loop corkscrewed into the ground, Smudge was bathing in the midday sun next to Jess. Arthur had left his old dog back home to snooze the day away on the sofa. Well, they weren't generally shotguns, Harry said. They were semi-automatic rifles. Harry heard Grace let out a short laugh, but kept his attention on the old man. He was staring at him intently, challenging him almost. "And that makes a difference, does it?" Arthur asked. "Yes." "Well, how's that, then?" Harry wasn't exactly sure, but he was desperately looking for some way to explain why, Of the 24 or so clay pigeons he'd just tried to blast out of the sky, he'd missed 20 and only nicked the others. Or, as Arthur had said, "Nowt but given the buggers a little bit of a scare." "And it wasn't just rifles," he said. "I've shot pistols, grenade launchers." "But not shotguns," said Arthur. "No, that's not what I said." "Yes, I've used shotguns," Harry explained, "but only to take off door hinges." He caught sight of Grace's shoulders shaking as she stifled a laugh at that little detail, though the memory wasn't one that held all that much humour, not when he thought of the things he'd found on the other sides of those doors. And that's a bit different than trying to hit a small black disc flying at 1,000 miles an hour. "Sounds to me like you're making excuses," said Arthur. "They're not excuses." "Then hit something, lad," Arthur said, slapping Harry hard on his shoulder, his strength and power in no way diminished by his advancing years. "Which, if you don't mind me saying so, begins with you listening to what I'm saying and doing what you're told, and not you just constantly doing what you've always done. That makes sense?" "I am listening, and I am doing what I'm told." Arthur shook his head and tutted. "You're not a natural learner, are you? A little thick-eared, if you ask me, like." Harry heaved in a deep breath, through his nose, held it, breathed out. "He's right, you know." Harry glanced over his shoulder to find Grace looking up at him through a half-smile, eyebrows raised enough to let him know she thought he was being a bit of an idiot. She was sitting on a weather-worn clay trap that Arthur had brought down in the back of his old Land Rover. The trap was a metal contraption that looked both deeply uncomfortable and highly dangerous. It comprised an uncomfortable seat, which was nothing more than a triangular slab of metal, a metal arm on which a clay pigeon was rested, and a spring clearly powerful enough, on release, to snap a telegraph pole in half. "Easy now," Harry replied, his eyes firmly on Grace's own. "Well, you're still closing one eye, aren't you?" "Yes." "Well, then stop." "I'm trying to." "You ready then, Grace?" Arthur called over to his daughter. Harry watched Grace pull back the arm of the clay trap and slip in another clay pigeon. "Sure am." "Now remember," Arthur said, "both eyes open and stay just ahead of the clay as you fire. They're racing away from you in a straight line. Honestly, these couldn't be easier, which is why we've started with them. You can't miss." "So you keep saying," Harry said. "And when you get your eye on, and you've dusted a few, we'll move things around and have you trying them coming in from the left. How's that sound? Honestly, you'll get the hang of it soon enough. Just do as I've said, and bloody well hit something." Harry had the shotgun in his shoulder and bellowed, "Pull!" his voice loud enough to crack the sky. Grace released the arm of the clay trap, and it swung out with a violent metallic clang. The clay pigeon soared into the sky. Harry focused on keeping both eyes open, saw the clay, made sure he was just ahead of it, and fired. The clay continued on its merry way, utterly undisturbed by Harry's attempt to smash it to pieces. "Bollocks." "How about we have a break?" Grace suggested. "Right, there you go. Their little bit of an extract, as I said, nothing given away. That's where we meet Harry. He's out. It's basically a year anniversary that he and Grace have been together. So they're out having your average anniversary day, clay pigeon shooting with Grace, her dad, and 2 dogs. And then things happen. Someone turns up. Harry has to go and get involved with stuff. So yeah, there we are. Hope you like that. It's always really hard to work out what to read on this because it's like, well, I want a bit. Does that give an? I don't. And your brain explodes. Back to the cheese. I'm not so sure. I'm really not. Good grief. I'm not quite sure what it would go with. Oh yeah. Right. Beautifully read. Yeah, thanks, Aubrey. From very, very funny. And praise from the praiseworthy and all that. But yeah, nice one. Nice to have Aubrey here as well, actually. How many people have we got now? Let's see, there's 1 million people listening. We've got 60. That's not bad going, is it? Yeah, my reading is just me reading. Absolutely not up to the standard of the wonderful Aubrey, who, I think, is probably getting quite close to finish reading it himself. It better be. I mean, everyone's asking for it already. So yeah, there we go. That's that done. With the old lardy cake. Now, are there any questions? Always amazes me that there are any at all. But if there are, ask away. Noodle's downstairs. That was her barking a minute ago. She keeps seeing dogs out of the window, and pigeons, and crows. She doesn't like them. Alright, let's see what comments we've got here. No, well, we're off out for dinner tonight. I'm by the coast, so it'll be somewhere that serves really nice fish. So, I had fish and chips last night. Tonight, maybe mussels, we'll see. What we got? Pippin says hi to Noodle. Will Noodle be at the... Right, there's a question. Will Noodle be at Grimfest? Yes. Noodle will absolutely be at I love the fact that it's called Grimfest. I think Grimfest is actually a heavy metal festival in Norway or something. But we'll go with that. Let's call it Grimfest. But yeah, and the fountain where the event is happening is dog friendly. So we are fully expecting there to be lots of reader dogs as well. Obviously not dogs that read the books, but that would... there we go. Have you started writing book 16 yet? That's from Vivian Oldfield. Yes, I have. It's all planned. I've already written chapter 1, started on chapter 2, and it feels like it will kind of write itself. As I said in the newsletter, it's got sort of echoes of sort of 70s horror in it, but it's not horror books, don't worry. But it's got that kind of sort of pagan-y kind of thing going on, a sort of dark undertone, which reflects, I think, it's a nice, what's the word I'm looking for? Mirror of like the beauty of Hall of the Dales, and you've got this like little dark thing there. So it's going to be a fun one, a bit different to the others. Lots going on, changes afoot in the Dales, and fearsome things beneath, as they say. Whoever they are, and why they would say that, I don't know. I can smell the cheese. I don't want to smell the cheese. It's really bad. Okay, John's bringing Eric. I'm assuming Eric's a dog. No. Yes. Ever thought of a series sharing the quirks of peeps in Cornwall? Asks Roger. Don't know enough about Cornwall, though I could probably do it. I've given a bit of time. Who knows? Looking forward to seeing where in Cornwall are you. Someone's had a slice of Cockett's fruitcake earlier, but no cheese. Jam. But anyway, at least you had the cake, which is good. Can I have your beer? No, because it's cider. It's mine. That was from Janet Jones. When is there going to be a wedding? People are really keen. There has been a few people asking, when am I going to marry someone off in the books? You never know, do you? I mean, things are happening. Just have to wait and see. Our dog Ozzy has just gone mad hearing Noodle barking. What does it say in your sweatshirt? Can't read it. Neither can I. Married to the sea. There we go. Which is a bit weird because I'm rubbish when it comes to swimming. Well, I can swim, but I'm not the world's biggest fan. But I do like the sea. New comments. What we got? Hello from London. I love the audiobooks. Yeah, I mean, the audiobooks are very, very good. The title Dark Harvest is great, really alluring. Or is that the cheese? The cheese is not alluring at all. It's really bad. What time is it? Because, you know, things to do. So, tomorrow, it lands. Massive, intense reading from everyone. A lot of amazing reviews on Amazon, I hope. It does make a difference if you put a review up on Amazon. It really does make a big, big difference. I mean, I'm still amazed that I'm still writing Grimm 3 years later. 15 books in 3 years is good going, but it's because you guys seem to really enjoy them, which is lovely. I do appreciate that quite a lot. So I do hope you all enjoyed the new book. I really enjoyed this one. Again, it's a little bit different to the others. I try and make them all slightly different. There's lots going on, lots of little threads. It's not just one storyline. Obviously, there's the main story, but then there's like these undercurrents. So I've got all these characters who have to do things, and I can't have them just doing one thing. And they've got their own lives, haven't they? You know, you've got James trying to become he's a police constable. He's new to the force, so he's trying to prove himself in many ways. You've got Gordy doing her thing. You've got too much going on in many ways. It's quite a headache. Makes my brain melt out of my ears. But it's also quite a lot of fun. Oh, goodness, Gordon Smith's in. Fear him, everyone. Came in late, but he had to turn up. Just terrible, man. So yeah, everyone, I'm pointing at the screen like you can all see, which is hilarious. I'm literally pointing at my own screen. Yes, Gordon Smith is there. Do everyone say hello to him. You will all know him. I'm sure most of you probably read his stuff. Then he had a book out not too long ago. Obviously not as good as mine, but you know, he's all right. He's almost a nice person too. We've got Lillian from Florida. Best book series I've ever read. That's nice to know. Thank you, Sandy. That's lovely to hear. Love. You should all read. You should listen. You can't read an audio book, can you? You listen to it. You really should give them a go. And if you've read the books on ebook or paperback, give Aubrey's version a go. Obviously, it's unabridged. It's the same book, but his narration of it is fantastic. I kind of hear his voice in my head now when I'm writing, which is disturbing, but it's just one of those things. His voice for Harry is so spot on, and you can tell that Aubrey seems to really enjoy himself reading them, which is fantastic. This is what I get asked a lot. Who would you want to play Grimm if it became a TV series? And I've really got no idea at all. No, I always thought, who was it? Sean Pertwee would be good. He'd be quite good. He's got that kind of attitude I quite like. I'd quite like Sean Pertwee to play. Imagine that, be hilarious. But you know, would he want the big scar face? He'd probably quite like that because he loves his horror movies as well. He's been in quite a few. But yeah, obviously, as I said about the book that's coming out, it does have sort of echoes of my love of horror because that's a big thing for me. I've written a horror trilogy for kids. I've written various other things. But horror is a bit of a thing. I even collect horror soundtracks and horror audiobooks on vinyl. Limited release, coloured. It's all a bit weird, but that's a little bit of a thing of mine. So I didn't mean for that to happen with this book. I came up with the title Dark Harvest, and then the idea just happened, and it kind of just wrote itself, which was brilliant because sometimes that doesn't happen and you have to really fight with the idea, like get a crowbar out in your head and go try and prise the top of your head off to get the ideas out. But this one, it just went cha, actually made that sound. But that was really nice. So I enjoyed that. So it's quite a relief as well, I have to say. Now you see, someone agrees with me. Sean Pertwee. What do you mean, me and Peter Laws? Yes, Marsha is Peter Laws. I know Peter. He's a good bloke. He's got, I think I mentioned him in a newsletter a while back. Very good writer. He does sort of creepy stuff, but also crime. He's very, very good. But yeah, Sean Pertwee I think would be brilliant on TV. Right, we are now coming up to, we're getting close to half an hour. I've listened to all, this is Fee Templeton said I've listened to all the books except the first two because he hooked on Wonderful Voice. As I've said, everyone, please listen to Aubrey's version. 67 people. I'm going to leave you to your evenings now because I have, look at this, that much. I mean, the smell of it is quite just horrendous. It's okay to taste, but it's I'm not a fan yet. We'll see. But I'm going to leave you all with this. Well, I'll just read this because Marsha's just said she's reading Peter, me, J.D. Kirk, Ian Rankin and J.K. Rowling. What a group we are. Good taste there. So, everyone, hope you really enjoy the book when it comes out. It comes out in random, obviously, at midnight in various, so I think Australia gets it first, so that's always fun. You get comments on here. So yeah, actually, if you start commenting saying you've got it or you're reading it, which would be great, that you've done a review, which is even better. It would be lovely to see those reviews. But I really hope you enjoyed the book, Dead Man's Hands. I loved the title. I had great fun writing it. I did actually quite enjoy reading it as well. But I had a fantastic time writing this one. It seems it's very different to the others. There's lots going on, and I'm going to drink a bit more cider and crack on with my holiday so that when I get back at the weekend, I'm firing on all cylinders to write the next book, Dark Harvest. And with the rest, that's it. Have a nice whatever you're doing for the rest of the evening. I'm going to basically take that cheese and punch it because it's just horrendous. Enjoy Dead Man's Hands, everyone. Bye-bye.